check. Give me a sec. Yep, I got the link. Share, copy link. And I'll just share it to you on Instagram.
Nice.
Oh, no. Link. Okay, it should be working. All right. All right, what are we doing? Can you share the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so share your screen. And I think your volume should be... Can you talk a little bit?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Never mind. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Can you see that?
Can
you see
I
that?
can see it. Yeah, okay, I saw the request. Let me just accept.
Oh, did you send me the Joel
Yeah,
Seedman
there.
one? Did
Yeah,
you
I
send me
did.
the Joel Seedman one?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Can you just
Resend.
Can you resend that link in the
Yeah, it'll
chat?
be the last one. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Private chat. This one. Last one.
All right. Beautiful. Okay.
Wait, is that the correct one, or wait, did I do the wrong thing? No, I did the correct thing.
You did? Wait.
No, is it Joel Seedman or not?
No.
Okay, wait.
Try it again.
Sure. All right. Let's go. There. Yeah, it sent the same thing again.
Weird.
It's not Joel Seedman, because that's what I see.
It's not pulling up for me. It's because I can't log in, but the other ones are working.
Try again. That sucks, man.
One more time.
We had F for once.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you don't need to be signed in. I'm not even signed in, as far as I know.
Yeah, I know. Same. Let me try real quick.
Yeah, that's gonna work. It's like this one, the one on the right. Don't do that. You're live. Don't show your password, idiot.
That's not even my account anymore.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, whatever. We'll just go over it. I'll share my screen when we get there. Let's just do the other ones.
Okay. All right. Which one do you want to do?
Wait, I have to find
first.
Wait, which one is your stupid one? Because I wanted to start with the stupid ones.
Oh, my stupid. I guess my stupid one was the Seaman one. Oh, do you want to do Liver King?
Oh yeah, let's do Liver King. That's what I was looking for. Can you pull up the video? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're reacting to the Liver King apology. Okay, sorry everyone. It's gonna finally getting to it. Okay, let's go.
Shut up. I don't care. Can you hear that?
Pull the volume up. I can't hear anything.
Really?
Yeah, barely.
It's all the way up.
What the fuck? Let me see if the sounds.
Oh, it's because my mic.
Okay.
You hear now?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Okay, show what should I do?
Okay.
Oh, do I change my mic? Do I go? from in the other mic?
I guess so. Fuck, man. I hate how complicated this is. There's always like fucking technical issues. Let me see. Settings, shortcuts, audio.
I got it. Here.
Yeah, go there.
Internal mic.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
Okay, I hear something now.
Yeah. You hear it?
Yeah. So go back to the beginning. Okay, now I can't hear anything.
No. You hear?
I hear you. I don't hear the video. Okay, let me try. Okay, Liver King, let me try.
Yeah.
Liver King, I lied. Okay, we're gonna remove your share screen. I'm gonna share the screen.
Cool.
Okay, good. Chrome tab. There.
Yeah.
This audiobook about
shit.
vagus nerve exercises made over
Oh my God,
600
bullshit.
sales on Audible, and the guy who
Are you hearing this?
Primals.
Yeah, I can hear
This
it.
video to apologize
Wow. Yeah.
because I fucked up, because I'm embarrassed and ashamed, because I lied and I misled a lot of people. This to me it is because on media I was rich and anonymous, and after social media I'm still rich but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure in the public.
That's a lie.
Yes, you did. You had me a year ago.
Well,
you fuck.
Clearly, I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids, and yes, I'm on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Message to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life. Our young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets. So our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist.
Sure.
While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff.
And you also made fun of people who accused you.
That was a lie.
What's up, Primal? You're a Primal, bro.
I convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind.
He's reading off a prompter, right?
I convinced myself.
He has to be, man.
That this topic was a placeholder.
Yeah, for sure.
For a far more important conversation. I convinced myself that this would overshadow 6 years of working out today without PEDs. I've convinced myself that this was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive conversation. And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys. So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole. I have only myself to blame. I did that. And it was all wrong. I will be better. I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. In 2020, when I was 43 years old, I didn't feel 100% physically or cognitively. So I went to get monitored and by a trained
Why?
fellow
You're
clinician,
following all
see
the
what the
ancestral tenets, though.
What's going on with my life? And so, yes, it's true. I tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal level. So, yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and I finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes, this is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week. And no, I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or Winstrol, but I have tried them in the past without success. Yes, it's also true that my blood chemistry got all fucked up while taking nandrolone and Winstrol. My lipids got all deranged. My liver enzymes went sky high, which is why clinical oversight is an absolute must. Nope, the Liver King brand has had nothing, or at least very little, to do with my business success. My companies were already kicking ass, already successful before the Liver King public figure, growing at 50% year over year and still growing at the same pace after the Liver King public figure.
For sure, that's not true. Like, I can't believe that.
Nope. I've
Yeah,
never
no.
had ab implants, ab etching, or any other plastic surgery, and I sure as fuck never actually had gene editing done in Singapore. I made all of that up. It was all intended to be a joke, and that's an expression of ancestral 10 and 10. Have a little goddamn fun.
You're so
Ultimately,
funny, Liver King.
why did I, or why do I do them? When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from use, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so, and I'm wrecked physically and cognitively, and hormone replacement has helped in a profound and significant way. And still, I believe that the path to paradise is paved in fucking hell. I previously have said in a weird way, I'm grateful for the recent events that have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic.
Yeah.
I knew I needed to take this opportunity to openly discuss everything.
To spin it into a
For me to be
YouTube career. Honestly.
If there are any questions that remain unanswered, send them my way. I fully own that I fucked up. I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King.
Wait, did you just say he believes in God?
I'm sure he does.
No, but
Yeah.
what was that? The loyal to?
Ah,
Oh, shut up. Ah, shut up.
pause it. I want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
What did he point to at the end?
I don't know. Our ancestors.
The guy like shooting like testosterone darts at him on the top of the roof.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. You know when he was saying, I have been on testosterone, and it's like, I am on it right. Like, I thought he was going to say, like, I'm actually injecting right now. Like, I'm on an
He
IV
probably
drip
did.
of steroids. Yeah, he probably like shut up
Yeah.
right before. But like, what? I don't know. It's
I'm just confused as to how he didn't think he would get this type of exposure.
yeah. There's so
because-
many contradictions. Yeah.
Yeah, because in his emails like over a year ago, he literally planned to get 1 million followers
Yeah,
in
that's the
like
first
a
lie.
year or less. And then the second thing is like, how is like his like persona, like Liver King, not, made him more money?
Yeah. So there's two. Yeah.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused by that because
Well,
he's
lying.
given himself he's given himself the opportunity to go on like a ton of podcasts
Yeah.
because of this persona. So like, I don't know. I feel like you have to have like some increase in money using that
Yeah.
as a marketing.
And first of all, like it's like there's such a contradiction in his message because he's like, it didn't help my company. He was like, I had to do it to spread my message. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, is it helping you? Like, is it growing the brand or not? Like, it makes no sense. if your company was growing anyway, why did you take like testosterone and then lie about it? And then the second part is, of course you made more money. Like, you know how like Coke and like Pepsi are still advertising. Like everybody knows what Coke is. It's not like, oh, I've never heard of this, maybe I should try it. It's just like having it on the top of your mind increases the likelihood that you're gonna buy it. And like before, no one knew who the fuck Liver King was. And then when I talk to people, the only time I have a conversation about my page, like I see my cousins and they're always talking about Liver King. My friend called me the other day. He's like, not a physio at all. Just called me about Liver King at like 9 a.m. Like everyone knows who he is. Like he's like a crossover success. So like for sure he made more money. That's like such a lie.
Yeah. I think the other interesting thing is like him saying he has body image issues and issues, but at the same time he walks around with his shirt off everywhere. Like if you seriously have body image issues, you wouldn't like walk around with your shirt off
1 million
all the
followers.
time. You'd be insecure about these things, but he's clearly not insecure,
he's
at least on the outside.
Sure. Yeah, he might be like a little bit,
that
but
doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not getting the full picture here, and maybe he has some other type of body image issue that I'm not aware of. But like,
well, I mean, it's complex. We can't reduce it to that. We can't reduce it to that. There's like 58% of bodybuilders. There's a study by Devrin from 2018 where they saw that 58.3% of like bodybuilders have body dysmorphia to some level. So it's like you could look amazing and be on this like best stage for your body and still have issues. You can see the same thing in women with like
I guess
men too, like with anorexia and stuff like that. But still, it's a bad excuse because again, like 60% of the bodybuilding population has the same issues, and they're not like lying to people making $100 million on their back. Like,
I think what's also worse is that he's claiming to try and help people with depression, but he's also like you said, like scammed them out of money for the past year. Like,
he's contributed to it.
Exactly. You actually want to help these people, then stop scamming them.
Yeah, stop telling that you achieve this body with like a natural diet. That's like, by the way, very expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, it's kind of like what's the kind of like ableist but for like income? It's like saying like, oh, eating healthy is easy, but then someone lives in a food swamp. Like it's so easy. You just go to like Whole Foods. You just go to Whole Foods and buy like $8 potatoes. And it's like, well, all I have here is like McDonald's, and I don't have a car because I'm poor.
Right.
Well, like liver is like it's not even that healthy, and it's like so expensive, like the way he eats. And it's like it's so easy. You just have to eat this like very primitive diet, and then
the way you get around that is you buy supplements because he knows most people don't have access to those foods, so you're gonna buy the supplements. That's exactly what he does all the freaking time, and it's
just resource your food the same way you do eat, like hunt ethically. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for my condo in Montreal. Like I'm gonna go hunt some bison. like on Laurier Street. So it's very like problematic and obviously filled with lies. Like he opens with a lie. He said, I never expected this to be, and then his email to Derek, he's like, I expect to have 1 million followers on Instagram by March 2022 or 2023. Like literally, it's like, you
complete bullshit.
Fucking a lie. I don't know. Give me a sec. My headphones disconnected.
Yeah, no problem.
So he lied before. He's still lying, and he's probably still on like I don't believe that he reduced his stack because the reason he went on it was to get it better.
Yeah,
I believe that maybe he changed, but I'm sure he's taking other stuff. Like he's probably still taking the GH or something.
Probably. I mean, wasn't he stacking all those initially, like 5 or 6 or 7 different like supplements all at once?
Yeah.
Right.
You might have stopped taking GH because I talked to some bodybuilders and apparently it's asked because in adults it doesn't lead to like muscle protein synthesis or something. It's more like in kids. I don't know. Like I'm not an expert. I've literally no experience in that level, so I don't know. But it could be that the hormone guy was like, yeah, that's kind of stupid that you're doing that, especially like 4 times the dose. And he upped his dose of steroids or something instead. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, he's a liar. He's still a liar. And honestly think that this was planned. I'm surprised they didn't do it right before getting caught.
Yeah.
Because definitely his marketing team was on it. So my hypothesis is that they had like this strategy planned out.
Yeah.
like this was probably almost like scripted before.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I bet.
I'm
Like the strategy, like the whole, it was at least like, what do we do if we get caught? Because otherwise, like you don't run a company that does $100 million a
Right.
year and not have like a backfire plan. Like
Right.
that's ridiculous, right?
I kind of want to see what happens with him and Paul Saladino, you know, because Paul came out and said like, yeah, this isn't good. This lacks integrity, honesty. Didn't he say that they were gonna
He said
split
he was
up
going to talk to him.
eventually? But I thought he said like they were, even if they're on good terms, they still want to part ways. Is that true? Like maybe someone in the comments can correct
It's
me.
possible. I don't see why Liver King needs Paul Saladino anymore. He's kind of redundant now because they started as business partner when again Liver King had no presence online.
Yeah.
And then now he has a bigger presence than Saladino.
Yeah, he's
right?
the one who gave Paul like the supply chain and the ability to like,
Yeah, that's it. So they kind of traded places now. You kind of swallow whatever
I
Paul
guess
was bringing
that's
to him.
true.
So I think it's almost good
true.
for him, for Liver King. So I don't think Paul Saladino. I think Paul Saladino needs him more than anything. But whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but so fuck Liver King still. He's a liar. And we're gonna keep memeing him because it's fun.
Yeah, because we're subprimal.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. I don't know. We should make an equivalent where it's like, like Johnny Sins, where he lies about his dick size and says it's because he eats liver or because he eats kidneys or something.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, he just says that he's doing it for mental health. We could for sure meme that. Like, you just have a picture of a huge, like, censored penis. And he's like, yeah, I got this huge dick by eating liver or something. I do it for mental health, like in parentheses, like a whisper.
Yeah.
All right, so what's next? We had like the bad take. Let's do like a good take or like a smart one, or smarty pants one.
We have
Greg Liebman one.
Yeah, we can do that. Or we have Joel Seaman kind of misrepresenting the science, or like inflating.
Yeah, let's start with Greg Liebman's take. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So it's a controversial one.
You
we did
can
the stupid one. Are we doing
you can share that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. How do I do that? I do share. Share screen. Okay, yeah, sorry, my mouse kind of messed up. Okay, so Chrome tab, this one. So it was this thing there. The one? No, it's not the one. Never mind. I messed up.
Angus.
Let me do another one. Yeah, okay, let's do this one.
Okay.
Chrome tab. Share. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. One thing that's annoying with having like being in Quebec is that every time I get as in French and English, I can't like, I never choose. It oscillates day to day because I'm like 50-50. So I get like movie commercials. French are hilarious. It's like, hey, Peter, on doit aller à l'école. It's like, it's the worst. Anyways, whatever. Fun fact. Yeah. So Greg came out. There's a new paper. Let's see who it was by. Oh yeah, it was like 2 years old. He was because Greg likes to look at papers like in depth, like the places people don't actually read, and I don't remember what. Can you see the? Anyways, it's from 2020. No, okay, cool. Let's see. Abstract, whatever. What the fuck? How do we?
I can't see anything, but I can see Twitter. Still.
Okay, it was by Beischer, like Susan Beischer from 2020. You can see what I'm looking at right now. Okay, yeah. So the article said that basically, if you look at people before they return to play, the quad strength wasn't linked to the re-injury. So it wasn't the quad strength; it was the LSI, like the limb symmetry index.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't linked to the re-injury rates for ACLs, and they also look at the cluster test that we use, what we call like the Delaware test, and if you put the 5 tests together, like the hopping test and the quad strength, it didn't seem to predict re-injury either. So it makes sense. Like it's kind of a big departure from it. If you look at the sample size from like what we know from the work by Snyder Mackler. but there was kind of a good sample size if I recall. So methods, sample size. Let me check. Samples. So 159%. So 159 people. So athletes, and they look at re-injuries. The problem is that like a lot of if I recall, there were 10 injuries on the same leg, and then 18 on the other leg. So if you think about it, limb symmetry index, the way I see it is that it's an estimation of actual strength, like the strength to body weight ratio. Because if you look at like other research on hips and like knees, the strength to body weight ratio seems to be the predictive value, and in my opinion, like the causal value. Like if you're very strong for your body weight, that's good, but if you're very strong but not for your body weight, that's not good, right? Pretty easy to understand. Doesn't really matter to your leg if it's stronger than the other, right? Because a lot of like people have asymmetries and they're not injured. So when you get injured, the reason we use LSI is just because it's a good estimation of what the other leg used to be, right? So with that being said, there were only 28 injuries, and only 10 of those were on the same side, like it was a re-injury. The others were an injury to the other side, right? So 8 of those. I'm sorry, there was only 18 injuries. So I don't think that's LSI, like limb symmetry index, is relevant for those if you think about it, right? Because what does it matter that they're not symmetrical if you're injuring the other leg? I don't know if my point is like clear. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, maybe. Well, what if the other leg is a little bit stronger and has to compensate more for the
You could
one
see it that way, but it's usually not predictive if you look at other research.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it matters. That's like the big thing. So again, they were only pooling on like 10 injuries. And the other thing is the average. So if you look at the cutoff that's been used to validate the Delaware criteria, so the ones by Snyder Mackler and co. I don't remember who the Hurd, like Whitney Hurd is like the other big one if I recall. Well, the average was like 77, was like 90%. So the cutoff is 90%, and the average person out of 90% LSI. So the way I explained it to Greg was that it's like if you're doing a research on happiness and income, and you're like, oh, it looks like income, like money doesn't predict, and like it doesn't, but it's as if the study was only looking at extra rich people, like very, very rich people, like billionaires, and comparing to millionaires. We have this thing called like the diminishing returns. What is it called? Like marginal benefit curve or something for income and happiness. And it's like past like, I don't remember, but it's something like past like 100K. It doesn't really matter if you make more money because you're just going to buy more stuff. And it's like an endless cycle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the same way that like money doesn't make you happy, but not having it does make you feel like shit. Like being poor sure sucks, right? When you don't have your basic needs met. It's the same thing for ACLs, where it seems that weakness predicts for injury. It's not necessarily strength. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and a lot of like, if you're above 85%, and there's like 2 studies on this. There's the Grindam study from 2016, which is based on the Canon trials. If you're above 90%, it's like I think like every percent below 90% is a 3% increase in re-injury risk. Right. So if you're missing 10%, that's like a 30% increase in injuries. And there's other studies on this. I don't remember the other one. It's like, what is it? There's another study that says the same. The Christiani study from 2021, like very similar. It's not the exact same numbers, but they show that cutoff is very important.
Right.
So basically, again, if you're below that 90%, you're really at risk because it means you're weak. But if you're strong, like at past 90%, you're considered strong, right? And past that point, it doesn't seem to matter. It's like, it's but it doesn't seem to matter that much.
Okay,
so
it's a point
didn't have those people.
Is it just a point of diminishing returns then? If you're
exactly.
Okay, perfect.
So the asymptote seems to be at like about 90%, but it's like a sharp asymptote. So like if you're there, you're really at risk. If you're there, it's like almost like a sharp cutoff, basically like a corner U-turn once you get to that point. Gotcha. And it makes sense because that's what we use for jumping. Like if you look at a lot of LSI testing, if you have objective measures past like something like 70%, people really struggle to even just jump. Like they can't hop off the ground. So if you can't do that, running, of course, is going to be dangerous, right?
Yeah.
It's like a capacity. So that's kind of my take on it. Greg wasn't convinced, but I think we have other papers that show. There's also the fact that, again, if you wait 9 months, that seems to have a very strong protective effect. It's like 6 times the protection. The paper that Greg cited, the Beischer study, said the same thing. The Grindam paper says the same thing. And even the Christianity study that I just cited, what we see is that if you're stronger at the quads early on, you're going to struggle. Again, you mentioned like that was possibly because of confidence. I don't know if you have other hypotheses for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think overconfidence is an interesting one.
Yeah, and the way, because the interesting thing is Snyder Mackler, who like wrote like most of the paper on return to play testing for ACLs, or was like a co-author on most papers. She came in, and the way she explains it is that like you need to respect biology. So you might be great at compensating, but if your tissue, the graft isn't ready. And again, it's never going to be exactly like a tendon, but it does seem to change a little bit over time, right? It becomes more like a ligament, but it remains a tendon, right? But after like, if you're already at 90% on your quads after 3 months, the graft is still very young and fresh, and tendons don't react the same than a ligament. So yeah, it's probably not as good. Exactly. So yeah. So I think that was good. We like went around. So that was quick and dirty.
And I think I actually like I actually do like Greg like challenging these things, because I do hear this a lot in physio world, that it's always quads.
Yeah.
And even though he might be wrong from some perspectives here, I do appreciate it, like because it allows us to like explore more nuance here. So it's like good on him for trying to challenge these things.
Oh yeah, and I agree. I think it just mixes the literature. I think it just, if anything, I think it specifies the point that we need, that 90% figure so far is really important. And the way I see it is that for me, the LSI is just a stand-in until we get good return. What is it called? Return to play criteria based on body weight to strength ratio, or torque to body weight ratio, or power values. You know, I think that's the most like this. I think the real value is how fast you're able to produce a lot of power. Strength. So like a power value based on your body weight.
Yeah,
I think it's a good value, but it's incremental, right? We need to know the strength to know the power. There's a couple like missing links, and for now, LSI is just the best that we have. And not everyone has like a UMAC norm at home, like 150K machine to measure it. Like I use it like an isometric, and then when I need someone to go and have those very objective values, I send them to a testing center. But even then, we don't really know what to do with them because there's so much testing left to do. Yeah. Okay. So that's it.
This is cool. Yeah, this is cool. You want to do the Seaman one now?
Sure. Do you want to go for something stupid? Like I feel like my brain needs to calm down. Or something easier.
You know what? I think the Seaman one is
okay. Let's go.
I'll we did do Liver King, to be fair. That was like our stupid one.
I'll do Seaman. Okay, give me back.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. So let me share my screen. How do I do this? Share screen. Let me go on my phone. I'm going to see if there's a chat going on. So Chrome tab. What are we looking for?
Just go to Siemens. Yeah, just go to Siemens thing.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool.
The bar shift towards the non-working side. Push the bar over towards the loaded side so that your arms and the patch of knurling are centered with your body. That way you're not offsetting the offset load. New research shows that offset training is one of the most effective training protocols, not only for neuromuscular efficiency and technique, but also for strength and muscle growth. But there's one very important secret when it comes to offset training. Don't let the bar shift towards the non-working side. Push the bar over towards the loaded side so that your arms and the patch of knurling are centered with your body. That way you're not offsetting the offset load. New research shows that offset training is one of the most effective training protocols.
Let me close that up.
Not only for neuromuscular efficiency.
Okay. Yeah, so the paper he cited in the caption, I'm actually going to share my screen here.
Yeah, first thing I want to say is I think it's good the way he's explaining how to do it. It's more about, is it that effective? This is what I'm concerned with. Because if I would train offset loading, I would probably do it the way he's teaching.
Yeah. Can you see? Can you see that?
Yeah, I'll let you share. Yeah, I have to accept. Let's go.
All right,
That's what you want to show.
Perfect. No.
Yeah, I can.
I'm gonna move to the paper. Okay. So this is.
Put it full screen.
Let me see if this is the right one.
It's fine. So the effects of offset loading versus traditional loading. So that's the paper that Joel Seaman cited.
I believe so. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure here.
Sure.
I don't want to get that wrong.
Give me 1 second.
I might just pull up another one.
Sure.
But yeah, he cited this paper, and it just came out. Like, let me look. Oh, it just came out on November 16th, and I think I had the.
What kind
I
of
think I had
paper
the
was
right
it?
one. Okay, I had the right one. Yeah. So basically, it compared two groups. You have like a traditional loading, and then you had an offset loading protocol. And let me just go to the methods here.
So it's an RCT, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it's a clinical trial, and they just wanted to look at, and they did bench press, so they wanted to look at the effects of 4 weeks of this type of muscle thickness and then strength outcomes. And the only muscle thickness measure they used was for the pec major. That is a limitation of the study. They look at anterior delt and triceps and things like that. Yeah, and basically what they found actually, and this is kind of interesting until you really dig into the methods. They basically found that offset loading had a effect size for increasing, pec major, the musculature in 4 weeks, and then a bigger effect size for increasing bench press strength compared to traditional. The offset loading in this study was like 2.5% difference between sides. So it's not a big, it's not a visible difference.
Wait. But let's go by nominal. So if I recall, that was in trained individuals, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the average bench? Because if you look at 2.5%, if you're benching 500, that's it's pretty significant of a difference, to be honest.
Yeah. So their bench press 1 RM, and
that's like 25 to 30 pounds if you're like very strong. But I doubt that they found a good sample size that many people. So let's look at the average bench press kilograms. So OSL traditional 119. Is that in pounds or in?
That's kilos, probably.
In kilograms?
Yeah.
Okay, that's honestly
kilos.
defensible. Like
That's
they're benching
good.
2 plates at least. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like a 20-pound difference. Come on, man. Like that means you did 20 pounds better than the other group.
Yeah. And then you look at like the sample size in each group, and it's not great, And to be fair, that is like honestly the norm for most exercise science
studies. What are we talking about? Is it like 58 patients?
This has.
Oh no, that's the age.
Yeah, this has 20 total, and then 11 in the offset group, and then 9 in the traditional loading group.
Yeah, that's not a great sample size. So
and the other problem was that there was no significant difference between groups. So but they still used they used a method called magnitude-based inference, and the problem with that one is that they used that method they applied it for like non-clinical inference when they should have done the clinical magnitude-based inference. So there's 2 different methods there, and they just picked the wrong method. And because they picked the wrong method, they increased the rate of type 1 errors or false positives in the study. And there's already supposed to be kind of a high rate of false positives, and they made it worse by choosing that method.
Okay.
And then something that kind of talked about this was this. Can you see this systematic review? Yeah. So that's
interesting. I've never heard of this.
It's actually so interesting because like almost 85% of all the papers, I think it's 85%. Maybe that's something else that I'm talking about. But like a lot of these papers in sports science use magnitude-based inference as a way to justify their small sizes.
That's interesting because I don't read small papers. I've never come across this.
Super common in sports science at least. But so around the small sample sizes, they use this thing called magnitude-based inference. And the problem is that when they do this thing, a lot of almost like 85% of them use this and I'll abstract here because they talked about it. They use this thing called mechanistic or non-clinical magnitude-based inference, clinical magnitude-based inference. And again, it just inflates false positives like crazy in the data.
Can you explain what the clinical would be difference? Or is it
the
does
clinical
that
is
have
like
anything to do with the MCID?
The clinical is there's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. There's less room for error. Like it minimizes the amount of harm that's acceptable in order to make an inference. Whereas non-clinical, like it allows more harm. And I think they talk about it a little bit.
By harm, do you mean error, like inflation of the
No,
type 1?
Yeah, that and just in general overall harm.
Okay. Or maybe we'll do a post on this. I think it's interesting.
It is, and I was trying to get you to do that earlier this week, but yeah,
that's fine. Okay, and then I think there's some.
This is definitely something.
It makes the paper not worthwhile, but just the fact that it's like not significant, I think we can just safely throw that paper out. It's an indication as a pilot. First of all, the study size is a pilot study. Like Marco Zanes, I think from 2013's meta-analysis showed that like if you have a sample size of less than 50%, your rate of having like the what do you call it? The not the sample size, but the effect size is inflated by 48%, right? Because don't report false negatives. So if that study showed no difference, it would possibly not have been published. And you know that's the drawer effect, right? Or the the positive study effect. So there's a lot of studies with no results that are not published. So again, we got to take this with a grain of salt because this study probably hides one or two studies where we don't see that difference. We need more study. I think if anything, this study is a good pilot study to suggest more research. I just think in terms of like logic, why would it help? Like, why would it make the bench better?
I mean, because these are experienced lifters. The authors kind of hypothesized that it was a novel stimulus, right? And it wasn't that big of a difference in the offset loading group. So it was a novel stimulus. It was somewhat similar still to the traditional bench press, to where they might have, had this greater effect between groups. But again, like the method they used, it increases the risk of false positives. The small sample size is a huge problem. They didn't do an a priori sample size calculation. That's another problem. And then Joel Sieben kind of uses this paper and makes huge claims based off
like he did with his PhD.
Yeah.
I actually have a hot take about this. So I think maybe, and that's just maybe, the offset might have made them better at compensating. So how everyone's like stronger. So let me give you an example, right? If we're talking about soccer, people like I'm someone that's ambidextrous when I play soccer, so it's really practical because I can play anywhere. I can like go, it's like very advantageous. But if I want to have like a short-term advantage, practicing only my right or my left, it's probably going to make me better for a specific task. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it might be that for the bench, everyone's like a bit stronger on one side. It made them better at cheating, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
On their stronger side, so that they can leverage like a small short-term advantage. Like long-term, it might be like not ideal because I think for a bench, you kind of want to use both arms as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
But it might have made them better at leveraging their asymmetries short-term.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that's
so you might see the reverse long-term, or rather see like a disadvantage in terms of hypertrophy. Like you would see one side growing more than the other, which again, I don't think is going to cause pain, but in terms of long-term performance, I think maximizing hypertrophy, which seems to be the main predictor of strength, is probably a better idea. So keeping something more symmetrical would be better probably.
Yeah. And look, I definitely don't want to like shit on the authors here because, good authors like talk about these limitations in their paper. I don't think they talked about the magnitude-based inference one. Because I
think they just didn't know.
Yeah, I honestly, they didn't know. It is, and to be fair, it is extremely common in sports science and definitely something that we should probably post on about in the future. But they at least acknowledge their limitations. They acknowledge the small sample size, and they said like, look, a ton of future research needs to be done. What Joel did is he didn't talk about those limitations. and he just takes it and runs with it. So for those of you like watching, this is just a super common thing that charlatans do. They'll cite like a terrible paper that needs more research on it, and then they'll just run with it, regardless of what's discussed in the discussion.
This is a hypothesis generating paper. It's not like a claims making paper.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a good way to exemplify that, like, just having a PhD doesn't make you a source. So we can take Joel Seedman as an example, but even the researchers, I don't know if they had a PhD, but even then, like, having a PhD is like a lot of work, but it doesn't mean you're like, you know, everything. Like, academia is really, really wide, and there's a lot of like PhDs who don't grasp statistic as well as they should, because it's so, you can't learn everything. And I mean, when I was working in research, like, we would get a statistician like on board, or like a guy like who would code to do the statistical work for us, because like you kind of forget. It's kind of like, you know, how you're in high school and you learn like algebra and all that stuff. Like, you don't really remember if you don't use it, and a lot of PhDs don't use it. So it's normal that they make these mistakes, and it doesn't mean they're stupid or you shouldn't like respect someone that has a PhD. It's more that it's important to question, because that's how academia grows. Because we all have blind sides, so like kind of like questioning and fostering like a community that kind of questions. Like, again, if we look at people like Greg Lehman, it's really important because it reduces the mistake. And I think like science is kind of like a error reduction system, right? We're always going to make mistakes, but we get closer and closer to the truth.
Absolutely.
And I don't like that word, but like, you know, what the real effect is going to be.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So I think that was a good discussion. Let's move on to we had like so we did two like stupid, and then we did two controversial.
Yeah. Why don't we do one positive?
Yeah, I have the Ben Carpenter. It's like not science based, but it's really, I just find it really interesting. I like Ben.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's cool.
Give him a shout out. Good page to follow. Okay, let me see. I don't know how to restart from the start. Actually, let me just share my screen. You can end yours. So we're gonna remove this. Okay, and then share my screen. Let's do Ben Carpenter. Okay, there we go. Voila. Let me see. Wait, you know what? I'm just going to update it. Just going to go up.
TikTok. I know I can be seen in the back. I'm a big woman. It's already a lot for me to feel comfortable in the gym. A staff member went and approached her and said, "Hey, it's just our policy. You cannot be on live stream or take video like that." She storms up to me in my face and says, "It's no surprise."
Fitness industry, we need to talk. I had to trim this down, but here's how it went. Lady in the video was being recorded in the gym. When she expressed that she felt uncomfortable, she was spoken down to by the person filming, who was a fitness professional. Look, the gym is not a comfortable place for a lot of people. Think of the gym as a house party. Us fitness professionals are the hosts. Our job should be making sure that everyone's having a good time. Unfortunately, some fitness professionals make you feel uncomfortable for entering their house, film you without permission, mock you if you're new and you don't quite fit in, pressure you to get off any furniture we want to sit on. If we want everyone to come to our house, we need to make sure that you all feel welcome in the first place.
She's live streaming on TikTok.
I like this. Yeah, so I like that take, honestly. I think it's just true. Like, because I don't know, a lot of people, like fitness professionals, they just see people. I think they have a lot of how should we call it, like survivorship bias. So like I train a lot of like powerlifters, and because I just get referrals from powerlifters I've treated, or gyms that just send me people, and like even like climbing gyms and stuff. And but also like a lot of my clientele, like roughly like 50% of people don't go to the gym and they don't like it, and a lot of people is going to be because of the environment. And I think people are like, oh, but like, you know, like having that like almost like that Viking mentality. I think a lot of people like this, and once you're into it, it's great, right? But it takes so much time to get into it. It's like if you watch like a football game and you don't know the rules, you're not going to be like slamming popcorn and like high-fiving everyone. It's just you need time to kind of accustom yourself to the environment. And I don't know, it's difficult. And I think a lot of people are not maybe like trainers and even physios don't make people feel welcome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
how do you feel when you train in the gym? Like,
I feel good, but I've been doing it for over a decade. I'm doing it for over a decade though, so I'm very comfortable. When
you introduce people to the gym, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
as
I
a
mean,
trainer,
what I usually
coach.
do, yeah, what I usually do is like, it depends on their goal and their preference and everything like that. But I usually try to find something that they enjoy and
Mhm.
that might seem fun for them. And I don't, and I think what's very common is coaches, especially, there's a lot of over cueing with
Yeah,
certain
I agree.
movements, and it literally makes people so afraid to do an exercise. I have seen trainers literally throw 20 to 30 cues at a person. Fuck,
Yeah.
I'm sure this is the same in physio. But it's like,
Yeah, it's the same.
yeah, I've seen trainers throw fucking 20 to 30 cues at a person and them become so afraid of doing the movement wrong that they just turn off or don't want to go up in weight, and they honestly have such a bad experience with that that they don't feel comfortable coming back to the gym unless it's with that same person who can look at every single little minutia that's wrong with them.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, that is something that I've tried to avoid, especially in the past like 5 years now, where I don't over cue people anymore.
Yeah.
1 to 2 cues max, and I make
Same.
them comfortable with imperfection.
Mhm.
Because you're never going to be perfect, and that's a big thing that a lot of coaches can take away. Reduce your cues, make them
Yeah.
feel comfortable, make them feel like they're working hard, and it's okay if their form isn't perfect, because we know form isn't the biggest predictor of injury. It might have a small part to play. We don't know yet,
Yeah.
but you be an optimist, right? They're using light loads, they're getting used to it. Let them adapt.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think one thing too is like a lot of trainers, for some reason, don't want beginners to use machines too much.
Yeah,
It's like they have to learn to squat. It's like, well, like a Smith machine is a great way to learn to squat.
It is. It's fine. Machines are fine, man.
Yeah.
I get the best pumps on machines, I swear to God. Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, for hypertrophy, they're probably better, honestly.
no, there's actually I think there's a systematic review on this. I don't think there's a difference between free weights and machines, but maybe in like more experienced individuals who can push
Yeah.
closer to failure,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
maybe
Yeah,
who
exactly.
knows?
For beginner, I mean, the main variable is like how often are they going to train?
Yeah,
That's your
exactly.
variable that you're chasing, and I think people are training like average Joes, like professionals.
Yeah.
So like if you get someone, because sometimes it's something I struggle with. If you get someone who's like, I don't like the gym, and they're here for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's like they get an insurance perk, or we have that in Montreal a lot. I don't know if it's the thing in the US, but you get like discounts if you go to the gym, or they just need to lose weight, or they want to lose weight. Like, how do you approach that person to make them feel welcome?
Someone who wants to like lose weight and things like that.
Could be it's just someone who doesn't want to be there.
Doesn't
You've
wanna
been
be
that kid
there.
before. Like as a kid, like you've been thrown in the pool and you don't want to be there, but like now your dad's gone and you got to come to the you got to be at the swimming lesson. Like what do you do with them? Like same thing but for adults. It's like I don't want to be here, but
I honestly ask them like, is there an activity you enjoy doing? Like hell, man, sometimes it doesn't even have to be resistance training.
Okay.
If they really, really don't want to be there, but they like enjoy like a sport, I'm honestly gonna push them towards the sport first, and once they get consistent a bit more, and they might feel more comfortable with more physical activity, they come back and they're ready to push themselves a little harder. But honestly, first thing I ask is like, what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
It is a tough conversation to have
Yeah, agreed.
with a lot of people, and
Yeah, I
sometimes
tend to
you
do the
can't.
same, yeah.
Yeah, and you honestly, you as much as I'd want to do this, you can't force resistance training upon everybody. It just doesn't. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, the people that are going to stick around are usually the people that are going to want to be there or have had a fun experience, a good experience with it their first time, and then have found value in pushing themselves. But they're not going to have a good experience if you make them afraid of it.
Yeah.
And
the only exception I could see would be like supervised exercise. I think we're probably pretty good if like someone's there to kind of be your coach.
Yeah, for sure. And like especially I work with a lot of kids, and I often like will like work out with them, sometimes and make it like competitive and make it game like.
Yeah, I like
You
to do
know,
that too. Yeah.
so there are definitely things you can do. Like kids are probably the toughest group to work with, honestly. But if you
Yeah.
can make it fun, if you can make a game like, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I think what you said about like you can't really do it, I think we have some data to kind of back it up. It's not like clear cut, but Stati did a paper on this in I think it was 2021 or 2022, and it was like basically the best like dream intervention where I think they did like a psychological intervention on like the benefits of exercise. They did like behavior modification interventions for something like 3 months,
Yeah.
and they had physio like almost every day, and then they looked at like the activity levels something like 3 months later, and I think it made like a 30-minute
Yeah.
difference.
And I'm definitely saying
That's so
yeah,
much resources.
yeah,
That was
it's
probably
crazy.
like tens of thousands of dollars per person.
I'm definitely saying like, I'm not saying like don't try. You should
No,
try.
you have to try,
Yeah, you
but you
should
have to
try. You should tell them about the benefits of it. You should explain how you can make it more fun for them. But at the end of the day, if you just don't want to do it, there's no forcing it on them.
You have to be there for the people that are ready to change, right? But maybe it's not our job to kind of convince. It's our job to try, but don't hurt yourself too much if like you can't change someone who's never, everything. Time takes change.
Yeah, and
time takes change. Change takes time. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
I
Unless you have
actually
anything else to say?
think I gotta go pretty soon, like in a couple of minutes.
You gotta go?
Yeah.
You want to do one last one? We
or
could do
we
the
could
Caleb
honestly
one, or
we could. It's been like an hour. We can probably just save this.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
then we have like 4 more for next time too.
Cool. All right. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
If you guys like this, I don't know. Say it. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Tell us what we did right. Tell us what we did wrong. Shit on our takes. It makes us better.
Yeah, because our goal is to, I don't know, we might do this more regularly if it works. We might upload it on Spotify. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
All right, peace out. All right.
See ya.
Movement Optimists out. End stream.